I'm on the official PlayStation blog. Actually, a few hours ago, Sony announced all new PlayStation Plus launches in June with 700 plus games and more value than ever. Now, we can quibble about that, but I'll get to that in a second. Basically, what Sony's doing is some people are saying it's like their answer to Game Pass with Xbox and stuff or PC. Kind of, but not really. Basically, what it is, it's a combination of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. So essentially, as it says here, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now come together. Players can choose from three flexible options. And here's some corporate speak. They launched in 2010. It's been at the forefront of innovation. Yada yada yada. Here's the tiers. The very first one, PlayStation Plus Essential. It provides the same benefits that PlayStation Plus members are getting today, such as the monthly game downloads, exclusive discounts, cloud storage, all that stuff. There's no changes for existing PlayStation Plus members in this tier. And there's the pricing. It's 60 a year, 10 a month in the US, etc. PlayStation Plus Extra. Now here's where they start to add on the things. It provides all the benefits of the Essential tier, of course, and adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. The games in the extra tier are downloadable for play, which is important, I believe, because streaming and stuff, I mean, depending on how often you play the game and stuff, of course, number one, you got to have quick internet. But number two, if you got a data cap, like I do, thanks Comcast, but then that can be kind of a pain, I guess. Although you have to be playing a lot to, you know, reach that data cap. But anyway, and this goes up to $100 a year or $15 a month in the U.S. And there's Europe, the U.K., Japan. That this tier sounds kind of cool. We got to see a list of the games. They don't give a full list or whatever. It just kind of gives you an idea of some of the games. That could be kind of cool. I mean, if you're buying the yearly, it's an extra $40, so it might be worth it. You know, Here's the PlayStation Plus Premium. You get all the previous benefits. It adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming, and then a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. Although it makes me wonder, what about Vita, man? Because basically, real quick, there's nothing in here about the Vita. And it's like, come on, man. You guys should have a little something in there. But anyway, and here's the price. It's 120 a year, $18 a month. And then there's for Europe, Japan, UK, and stuff. And then they did say in select markets, for markets without cloud streaming, PlayStation Plus Deluxe will be offered at a lower price compared to Premium and all that kind of stuff. It depends. Here's what I talk about some of the games. That said, we plan to include titles such as Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal, as well as perhaps others. I mean, obviously others, but just in terms of like big games. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. They say PS Now customers will migrate over to PlayStation Plus Premium with no increase to their current subscription fees at launch. All that kind of stuff. They talked about it's going to be a phased regional launch, essentially. Uh, so it's not a true competitor for Game Pass, but it is something that can maybe provide more, get more subscriptions, maybe make that money. If they, Here's an article from GamesIndustry.biz. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan: our games could suffer if they went straight into PlayStation Plus. Excuse me. He's talking about one of the differences between with Game Pass is like all Microsoft's games come out day and date right there on Game Pass, which basically is because Microsoft's willing to eat the cost, the potential cost, or potential sales, I should say, of these big games, your Halo Infinite or your Starfield or what have you. And he's basically talking about, as it starts here, it says, we feel like we're in a good virtual cycle with the studios where the investment delivers success, which enables yet more investment, which delivers yet more success. We like that cycle, and we think our gamers like that cycle. And he talks about basically the level of investment that we would need to make in our studios would not be possible, and we think the knock-on effect on the quality of the games that we make would not be something that gamers want. There's a picture of him. It's Ryan's view on this isn't unique to Sony. Most AAA publishers are reluctant to put their most recent games into subscription services. The counter argument is that by putting your latest titles into PS Plus or Xbox Game Pass, you're potentially widening your audience. Overnight, your new release could have tens of millions of players, and if your game has other forms of monetizations in it, then the revenue potential is significant. That's very much the key. If you have ways through Now, of course, you don't want to have a bunch of bullshit microtransactions, but if you got like DLCs and so on and such, that's why a lot of times they'll put a game up there that has like 2 or 3 DLCs already out, because then people are a little more likely. They're more likely to spend that $20 or that $30 or whatever on that DLC if they've already got the game, or the base game, I should say. But anyway, Ryan's perspective is a pragmatic one, and PlayStation's current position on this is entirely subject to change. I mean, and then he kind of mentions that who would have said that 4 years ago you'd see AAA PlayStation IP being published on PC and stuff. It's so he kind of hedges his bets, but at the same time, Sony, they make a lot of money. I think they're like valued at 150 billion, but Microsoft's valued at a couple trillion or something. I mean, it's something extraordinarily high, maybe even 3 or 4 trillion. I'm not really sure. They can eat the cost. Sony, probably not so much. So this makes sense. I know that there's some PlayStation gamers who are disappointed in these tiers that they don't. It's not truly like a Game Pass competitor, but I understand it. I'm not sure how much this is really going to truly make a big deal for people. I don't know. I mean, I can see some people. I think the one that people would go for the most would be the PlayStation Plus Extra. Because if you already have the PlayStation Plus and if you're paying us $60 a year, you might be more tempted, depending on what kind of games are included. And then, like, are they taken off after a short time, or is it going to be like, here's our base, and then we add on to it instead of taking games off? It depends. For another $40 a year, maybe. But at the same time, people, I also see people being like, man, I don't like paying the $60 a year for PlayStation Plus as it is. I know a couple of those guys. So I don't know if they'd be willing to fork out another 40. It depends on, like, they always had those sales, like usually around Black Friday, Christmas. You can get a PlayStation Plus membership 1 year for $35 or something like that. If they do that with the PlayStation Plus Extra, I could see people being like, hey, if they discount it down to 70 for a sale, Black Friday sale or something, maybe even 60 a year, I could see people, being like, hey, I'm jumping on that. It depends. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. There's not a whole lot else to say. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for PlayStation. But it's, I'm seeing a lot of people, disappointed. Other people are really happy about it. Some people are saying, hey, yeah, this is great. Other people don't care. They don't really give a shit. So, we'll see. But anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.